How's it going, everybody? Back for ISL Season 7 Platinum Draft Review. Again, I am joined by my co-admin, or one of my co-admins, Tago and Kingrock.
I like the ring of co-admins.
Yeah,
I can break the tie so Tago can drop everything he wants down.
Perfect.
Oh, man. That's actually, and Bubba, you're right. You're 100% right, Bubba. That's part of the reason why I was okay when Tago was like, "Nah, let's move him up. Let's keep him up." I was like, "All right, fine. I don't have to deal with him. He's out of my hair." But yeah, anyway, that's completely aside the point. We are doing a review of the highest skill division in ISL this season, Platinum, as I mentioned. Again, it's the same format as the Diamond draft review, which I will also have linked in the description. 12 coaches, 10 mons per team, a tier 1 through tier 5, a mega, and then 400 points for 4 mons. And those 4 mons can be anything from tier 1 to tier 6, which is 180 points to 20 points. I think we should just dive right into this. Go with I think the first team was Critic, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And his
okay.
very first pick of the draft was Scizor Mega, I believe.
All right. Do you want to start the stream or like screen
KJ.
share?
Oh, my bad. Yes, let me do that. I was like, I'm already streaming. What do you mean? But yes, let's do that. Let's do that. Yeah. So I think you're right. I think the first pick was Scizor Mega.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, and it looks like they transitioned that immediately into Fairy Dragon Steel Core with Sylveon and Latios.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool.
That's a good killer right there. It's just missing, Zapdos and Conkeldurr and Mudstep.
The first thing that stands out to me is that this team has Rocker.
This team has
Unless
Rocker.
I'm missing.
No, it only has Rocker. It only has Rocker.
It only has Rocker.
It also has T-Spiker, but...
Yeah, this team is very, very... I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say.
Pretty reliant on Tentacruel for Rapid Spin because Defog on Mega Scizor and Latios is kind of depressing.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking from experience having them both on a team.
Rick in the chat wanted to point out that it gets bopped by physical mons, but there's a Mega Scizor, and Rhyperior, and a Gourgeist. All mons that can be pretty physically defensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this team is... okay. And then he says, especially ones with Fire Stab or coverage. There's a Rhyperior. There's also a Magmar. Like, Magmar can slap me Violet on Magmar and it's taking your fire coverage. Like, I mean, it is still Magmar, but it still gets teleport.
It's a defensive fire type that can't hold boots. And I agree with Rick that Rhyperior is not a good defensive mon. I think the 4x weakness, like offensively, it's better than the other low tier grounds because of the Rock Stab, but it's worse defensively than all the other like mono grounds like Sandaconda, Mudsdale. Palisand isn't mono ground, but it doesn't have 4x weaknesses, so it's
very susceptible to coverage, but it's also not dying to one hit. You're not going to be able to take it out with Earthquakes very easily.
Unless it's stab. Yeah. Unless it's stab. Unless it's stab and it's one of the 4x weaknesses. So if it's stab, water, or grass.
Very vulnerable to Scald and Grass Knot, both of which are very common.
Which I think is one of the things that Kingrock was mentioning, like a different ground type. Like any of the other ground types that are like just ground, they're not ground and rock.
Mm-hmm.
Very often wouldn't die to a like random Scald or a random, like you said, like Grass Knot or Giga Drain or something like that. Like that's not gonna like Sandaconda is a good example of that. Like Sandaconda is going to be able to live more super effective hits than you would think, whereas like Rhyperior is not.
The flip side of that, though, is that your only shared weaknesses with Rhyperior across the entire team are Magmar, who is weak to water. Nothing else is weak to grass. Nothing else is weak to water. It actually lets in Latios really easily.
Yeah.
Like, Latios comes in on those scalds. Tentacool comes in on those scalds. You can, like, Burning isn't great because they don't really like the chip, but those are still entry points to get Latios onto the field.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I think defensively this team has a lot of its bases covered. It's like, sure, a strong fighting type would probably be able to have all the coverage it needs with like a knockoff, CC, fire punch. But at the same time, those are like normally pretty difficult to switch into regardless. And you do have a Sylveon, which is a pretty good defensive answer to those. You have Tentacool, which is really good fighting resist. Has bad ground type answers is actually my biggest issue. Because like, you're going to rely on Gurgeist a lot for that, I think, since most of your other ones don't really like switching into other stuff like Toxic or anything like that.
Yeah, that's you make very, very good points. I don't know. This is going to be a team that I think is going to be very, very reliant on winning the matchup and like making very, very good plays in game. Like, because you don't really have hazard support to be able to like help you if you do need to like chip things away. Like, you're gonna have to be making very, very aggressive reads, aggressive doubles, like putting yourself in position. You're gonna have to force yourself into positions to win the game, I think.
Which is like, there are good breakers.
Definitely.
And lots of good setup threats. Like Scizor can clean, Latios can clean, Weavile can clean. So you also have a lot of win conditions. But I do very much wish that there were more rockers, because I think that it's really important to have that.
Yeah, that would be great. Do you have anything else to say about this team?
I'm very impressed that they've doubled up on their 93 speed tier. I think that that's a really unique aspect of the team. Makes it stand out from the remainder. But actually, I think that they have very few layered weaknesses. Like, one of the things in draft that I think can really be missed out on is where when you have typings that you need to cover, but all your fire resists share the same dark weakness, for example, if you have both Slowking and Latios as your two things. And I don't see any of that here. Which
that's a really that is good. Yeah, that's very, very useful. I guess Gourgeist, Latios with like they both share an ice or no, because that's not they're not or both are resistive. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I guess the exception would be just like both of the two main grounds.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Resist being weak to dark
and ice.
Yeah, I mean the ice one is normally that like every team is met with Slime Weak, right? Except that you got the Scizor Mega at least.
Yeah, you have Scizor though. Yeah, so it's not even a problem.
Yeah. Okay, I think I've said my part.
Yeah, that works. Okay, let's move on to Rick's team.
So first thing I'll say about this team is it's taking a quick 6-0 loss in the first week.
Well, damn.
Especially to Tangrowth. This team is just so weak to Tangrowth.
So I don't know. I like this team. I like this team a lot. Mega Diancie was the first pick. I think Galar, Slowking, Gligar, like Hydreigon, that pairing is going to be really, really, really good. Rotomo is always a good mon to have. Silvally gives really good utility here. Cinderace is basically topping off the speed tier and giving you something that can hopefully clean up games. Azu is just a lot of pressure offensively and can be defensive as well. And Colossal is a tier 5 that gives you a lot of different roles. There's good hazard control here, both removal and setters. Stunfisk Galar, I'm not that's probably my biggest problem is that the steel type is gotta be Silvally because Stunfisk Galar is not good.
And Silvally is basically a defog bot I have found with using it. Because the one thing is with Silvally, you really, really hate to lock it into one type because that gets rid of the fear factor of, oh no, what's it gonna be? And part of what makes Silvally such a good user of defog is that it can pressure any rocker in the game. It threatens to OHKO basically every rocker in the game with the right Silvally type. And unless they're weak to steel, they don't need to really worry about Silvally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it is potentially going to be tough not having a steel type.
Yeah.
When you also don't really like ice types with this team. Like, we were just looking at Weavile, the team before, and Weavile cooks this team, actually.
Yeah, Azu goes down. Azu goes down, and Weavile could have a lot of fun with this team.
Silvally Steel stands up to Weavile pretty well.
Yeah, Silvally Steel. That's
I
gotta
don't
be...
think it takes max damage from low kick. It does not take boosted knockoff. And it resists ice.
Rick says we are crazy, yet. And then he said Azu question mark. But I had already said Azu.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a Rick claim coming. Hold on.
Silvally was drafted for that team.
For that Tema, not team. For that Tema.
But it was for Mega Scizor.
Fair enough.
Silvally Fire incoming. You're running Colossal Cinderace Silvally Fire to just say fuck you to Mega Scizor. You don't even need really Silvally Steel to check Mega Scizor. You just need Flamethrower on your Silvally. With, physical defense.
I mean, half of this team gets fire coverage, too.
Yeah.
Or stab.
Yep.
You got Hydreigon, Slowking, Colossal, Yancey, Cinderace, Silvally.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. I don't think that's gonna be a big deal. I do agree that this team, my only problem with it is that the fact that Stunfisk Galar is steel. I feel like Silvally Steel is gonna come to more games than it would necessarily want to.
Yeah. Though Stunfisk Galar is a demon of a tier 6. As far as the tier 6s go, at least it has rocks.
Oh, as a tier 6, definitely.
Yeah.
As a tier 6, I think Stunfisk Galar is good, but Stunfisk Galar in general is
Rick says, and my steel type isn't that important. I'm gonna, for everyone, I'm just gonna screenshot that right now.
Famous last words.
File, save as.
Yeah. Because the cool stuff about Stunfisk Galar as well, just find out, it doesn't have Toxic, which instantly is just a downer about it. But Stab Earthquake is always good. And then it's got cool moves like it's able to run Thunder Wave, it's able to run Rocks. It can still kind of pressure Burns with Scald.
No, Lambo, Twitch can go fuck itself right now. Because they can't moderate worth a damn.
Yeah, I think the team is really solid overall, though. Like, the main core mons work really well together. Has pretty good speed control. Has really good hazard control with like defog on or some form of removal on half of the members.
And magic bounce, though, as I've said multiple times, Mega Diancie does not deter rockers.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then its own set of really reliable rockers. Gligar's the main reliable rocker, and then you have auxiliary ones like Colossal, Diancie, and Stunfisk.
He
Yeah.
has 2 rock types. I rarely ever draft 1 rock type.
He does have 2 rock types.
I don't know why I never draft any rock types. It just sort of happens.
You have to cover the lack of flying resist from Rotom Mo and having Stunfisk Galar as his steel type.
There's no reason to do that. Who drafted any good flying types? There's no reason for this. You want to be as weak to flying as possible in Platinum. You know who has the best flying type? Film. Is that right?
Oh, we can transition right into Film's team. That's perfect.
Yeah, see, Zapdos is on Film's team. There's no other flying type you need to worry about. So, I mean, unless you're really scared of losing the Film, you want to have no flying resist on your team. You want to lose to SD Aerial Ace Gliscor is what I am saying.
So,
all right.
Film did his normal Film thing where he has like 5 mons that are actually scary and 5 mons that aren't. That's
5 mons that are sent to Scorch.
that's the usual Film. I look at Film's teams and I'm like, wow, half this team is scary. And half this team shouldn't come to many games. Like, he started off with Hoopa, and I mean the value that Hoopa gives is absolutely incredible.
He punishes U-turn very well with both static Zapdos. I think does Scorch get Flame Body? It does, right?
It does.
And the potential of Rocky Helmet regen Pex.
Yeah.
And you're bringing Hoopa in with Teleport on Clef, though it doesn't really like it that much in draft. The slow Volt Switch of Fortress. Don't laugh at the slow Volt Switch of Fortress.
Yeah, I mean the fact that
point here.
It doesn't lose you. Like, the nice thing about Fortress is that it doesn't actually lose you too much momentum because it has slow Volt Switch. Like, that's at least helpful. But like, yeah, I mean, Clef, Hoopa, Zapdos, Pex, Fortress, Zygarde, I think are gonna be like, I don't know, Mega Sharpedo. Ooh, I don't know.
I still hate Mega Sharpedo.
I'm not a fan
because I've never been a fan of the Mega that's like can only sweep like once.
Like,
because otherwise you're just relying. I mean, being a base 105 speed, 140 attack, strong jaw mon is pretty good, but like you can only abuse speed boost and get the strong jaw boosted crunch to kill something at one time.
Yeah, it's definitely, I don't know. I do think that it's a bit underwhelming, personally.
Wait, Sharpedo Mega is Mega Tier 2?
Yeah.
I do think it is probably the worst Mega at Tier 2. But I think it's better than credit is given. Like, it's not versatile, but it is threatening. In the same way that, like, a lot of... Like, Gyarados is a threatening DD sweeper. But otherwise, I'd say it's not really on the top of your priority list. Like, you're like, oh, I gotta check the DD set. And then otherwise, you're like, okay,
yeah, but a support Gyarados set, like a T-Wave set or something like that, can really fuck you up. Like, that's the thing. Like,
sure.
Wait until he brings out the Indoor Rough Skin Sharpedo Mega.
Do you want a rough skin? Oh my goodness.
When I drafted Sharpedo Mega in the very first season of ISL, actually,
this is good
there were
lore.
multiple games that I brought it bulky with Super Fang as my main damaging move. And I didn't process up until the third game that Super Fang didn't get boosted by Strong Drop. Which is the reason that I kept bringing it. Because I was thinking like, oh, a 50% stronger Super Fang, that's dealing 66% or 75% or whatever I thought of opposing person's HP. That's broken.
Folks, we have successfully bullied Film into getting rid of Mega Sharpedo.
Wow, that was quick.
Thank God. I don't know how my team was going to deal with that. I don't know about yours, Tago. When we agreed to make him do this, because
Oh
we
my
agreed our
goodness.
matchup with Mega Gyarados was better.
Oh my.
Okay,
Yes,
I just
Tago
went
and I
and changed
have
it
like
on
a
the dot.
doc that we have right now where we're just going to suggest a bunch of make a bunch of suggestions to teams to make them worse against our two specific teams, which is why I'm really selling having flying weaknesses. You want to have more flying weaknesses than resists, specifically in Platinum. Yes, exactly. Oh, do you really care about the bird spam offense of Zapdos or Oricorio?
Oh, I shouldn't actually change that on the doc. I'll make sure to change that back just because I
Oh,
don't.
yeah.
Oh
think,
yeah. No, it's
Nido will
effective
help.
week 2. So
Who's Film playing week 1?
Film
Nido.
plays Nido,
Oh,
and then he
okay,
plays
Nido.
Clay.
Okay, yeah. And then
So Mega Gyarados will be on the team for Clay. But yeah, it's actually
We
funny.
haven't actually made any comments on the team really.
Yeah, we haven't. We should definitely we should definitely do this. Yeah, I mean, again, I like the high tier mons. I don't like the low tier mons that much.
I mean, I like Scorch. It's a very depressing mod. It's kind of the Empoleon of fire types. In that it does a lot of good, but like there's a reason Clay had to draft it like 7 times and hated it.
He loved it. Wait,
Oh.
he loved it.
Yeah.
I think he hated the fact that he had to keep drafting it. I don't know. It's good. If it gets knocked its boots off, it's not good.
It does definitely
yeah.
rely on boots. I don't understand why there's 20 points remaining, but Oricorio is drafted.
Because Film wanted it in tier. Film couldn't decide whether he wanted to draft tier 5 Vespiquen or tier 6 Vespiquen.
Oh man, yeah. He
But then-
I mean, I do think Oricorio could give you really good value in tier 6.
It satisfies that amazing base 93 speed tier. Look at what that does to Critic. It forces him to run max speed on both of his base 93s.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, it's filmed, so you know it's gonna come to games.
It will come to more games than like
It'll,
Zygarde.
I was gonna say it'll probably come to more games than Zygarde, knowing film.
If Zygarde isn't coming to games, look at how slow this team is.
Well-
Zygarde is the speed control and Scarf Hoopa. But then you lose a lot of the breaking power of Bandit Hoopa.
Or like Mixed Life Orb. Or Nasty Plot. Or just...
I actually don't really like Zygarde. I wish there was a different fast mon on this team. Like, I don't really like Zygarde on this team. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't love Zygarde on this team.
I disagree. I think it's fine. I think Film should do Film. I think
according to Nut, Zygarde is dope. Ban that hoe every game.
I agree. You want your team to be weak to flying types, specifically those of which with base 121 speed.
Oh man. All
I
right.
am also looking at the team, and I'm thinking, where are the mons that break for each other? And who is winning
Torterra
the game?
breaks for Oricorio, which wins the game with Quiver Dance. We've been over. Does Oricorio even get Quiver Dance, or am I making that shit up?
No, it doesn't.
Oricorio does not get Quiver Dance.
Why?
I think you're thinking of its signature move. It's Revelation Dance.
Why does Oricorio not get Quiver Dance that would actually make it decent? I don't even think it'd be a tier 6. It might not even be a tier 5 if it got Quiver Dance. Look at those perfectly usable stats.
Wait, it gets Quiver Dance in some situations, says Shaded.
Yeah.
That's because
Oh,
of
it gets-
Dancer. That's because of Dancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ignore
Like, to some
Shaded.
extent, I guess that Zygarde baits in the grasses and tries to wear them down, and I guess Torterra too, for Mega Gyarados.
Mhm.
Someone's echoing, by the way. Is it me?
I don't hear an echo.
I don't hear any either.
But other than that, I don't really see like what Mons is Koopa breaking for the game to be won, other than just like clicking buttons. I don't see a direction with the team, offensively at least.
Again, you're failing to see the majesty of Oricorio, and I think that's you're being too close-minded about Oricorio's potential here.
We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. It should be a. Wait. Film just said my Oricorio walled a Mega Beedrill. Okay. On that note, let's move on to our only 3-time ISL champion.
Bada bing, bada boom.
We've got Kingrock's team, who is also in the call.
Yes.
This team is, classic Kingrock. There's a lot of offensive threats. There's a couple of defensive mons that will sit down and wall your team. This is exactly if you, I don't know, you look at this team and this is a Kingrock team. I will say the first thing I want to note is that Kingrock was not going to pick Rampardos. For everyone that is excited about Rampardos, Shaded almost convinced him to take Dottler. Then I looked at Kingrock's message and said, Kingrock, don't take Dottler. Take Rampardos. It's more of a Kingrock mon.
Yeah.
And sure enough, Rampardos is on the squad. So yeah, this team is very, very scary. I really like one pairing I actually really like is Victini Heliolisk. Like,
Hey, you literally said me taking Rampardos made you sad. don't claim you're being gaslit.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah,
But
I see a core exactly from my BDL team, which was Ferrothorn, Victini, Heliolisk, and Aromatisse, were all members of the BDL championship team.
I didn't even know that because I kind of stopped watching that BDL season because somebody like made this really bad trade to just Shaded traded the championship on behalf of the whole league to Tago for Piloswine.
hey, Piloswine's goated.
Poppy did do that. Poppy gave me Victini, which initially made the team very. But anyway, we're talking about a completely different league here. I was just trying to point out.
But yeah, I do really like Victini Heliolisk with Torn T as well, because that covers the ground weakness. Like Victini and Heliolisk, other than ground typing, are covering each other pretty well. Aromatisse is gonna be able to come in on the dark type attacks. You've also got Mega Garchomp. Like, what?
This team. So how I drafted this team was like, I had the 4th pick, which is kind of a shitty pick, to be honest. I didn't really know what I wanted to do because I didn't really want to go Zeraora again after going with it in like 3 consecutive drafts.
Makes sense.
So I decided to go with Torn T because I figured no matter what's there at my 2nd pick, there's going to be something that I can build with Torn T. I can build the team around. So I'm like, I kind of took Torn T to like hedge, and I'm like, I'm gonna hedge. This team is it can go in any direction. And then the 2nd pick came around, and I decided to take Victini, and I'm like, all right, now I have Torn Victini again. the team can still really go in any direction. And then my third pick, I take Ferrothorn. So I just kept hedging to see what direction the team would go in. And I'm a little concerned that every single one of the Mons seems super important to the team. all 9 of them except Rampardos. Like, I feel like if any one of them was any other Mon, the team would be significantly worse. Like, Torn, Victini, Garchomp, Mega is like anything but those 3 would be horrible. Like, having a Steel that's weak to ground, unlike Ferrothorn, would be a disaster. Having a tier 3 water that isn't a tier 2 in Manaphy would be a disaster. Having a dark type that isn't Skuntank, like it just felt like these Mons just kept appearing to me. And I will say I did almost take my last 3 picks when I sent it to Shaded and he said he was disappointed in me. It was Hitmonchan, Slurpuff, and Rampardos. And then we decided to switch it to I forgot about Girder. So
Okay.
we switched it to Girder Aromatisse. And I still ended up going with Rampardos. I really did want Slurpuff for the webs, but I just looked at the stats and it's just so much weaker across the board than Aromatisse.
This is a team webs would have been nice for.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely a team webs would have been nice for. But I don't think it's needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Aromatisse pairs better with Pharaoh and Victini.
I agree.
Has like a fighting resist and a dark resist that kind of cover for those and pass stronger wishes off of higher bulk. But at the same time, like Slurpuff is the more offensive option since it
I
has
don't even know that it's the
Flamethrower
more
or
offensive,
Endeavor
because Aromatisse has a higher
Counter,
special attack than Slurpuff. Like,
and it has
Aromatisse can
Moonblast too.
still, yeah.
But
Moonblast is such a valuable move.
Yeah, Slurpuff threatens the setup a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's not great. Slurpuff sucks.
Yeah, no, I hate Slurpuff on principle. I've never been a fan. I was considering holding my nose and taking it, but I decided that, like, I kind of like didn't take a fairy, and I was really worried about it because I'm like, because once Lambo took Comfey, I'm like, if Aromatisse and Slurpuff both go before my next pick, it's gonna be Alchemy, and I'm going to be very sad. It was still almost Alchemy, but again, I just looked at the stats and looked at Aromatisse's stats and knew I was making the right decision. Because Alchemy is also a very sad mon.
Alchemy is not better than Slurpuff. Slurpuff is definitely better than Alchemy, but
Polo just hates Slurpuff because...
Wait, I thought Polo hated Aromatisse. Hold on.
No, Polo hates Slurpuff.
He must hate both, because he hates Aromatisse. He hates how Aromatisse looks.
Yeah, I also hate how Aromatisse looks.
I missed a lot of character development. What?
Yeah, Aromatisse has grown on all of us.
I miss the days where Polo hated Aromatisse and thought Wish Protect was like...
Yeah, evil.
Evil.
Yeah, because KJ Polo would never go back on his word and draft a mon he completely.
Also, yeah, we're gonna. Don't worry, we are gonna Kingrock foreshadowing. We are gonna get there. We are gonna get there.
He would never betray any part of his belief system.
Let's move on. We're gonna get there. Let's move on to Scamp's team. The craziest drafter in this freaking league, probably. Like,
did he make transactions yet?
He did not make transactions. Scamp.
Okay, because I know he wants to, right?
He wanted to make transactions, and he also was gone for like half of...
Yeah.
He was gone for like half of the draft.
He scamped himself, if you will.
Yes. So let's talk about the fact that his removal is Mega Aerodactyl and Coco.
And Superior.
Oh, and Serp. Yeah, my bad. You're right. Kind of wild. This team is very, very offensive.
Mm-hmm. Like Coco can really never run defog on this team because you never want to get rid of your own terrain on this
Yep.
team.
Honestly, you don't really want to be running defog if you bring Raichu at all, because you're gonna remove terrain regardless of.
Yeah.
This team doesn't remove hazards.
No, it doesn't. It sets them and
Yeah.
hopes that your opponent sets them, and you just play with hazards up. Like,
And your opponent is incentivized to defog to get rid of your electric terrain.
Yep.
Yes. And I like the sneaky screen setters. I think so. Superior's biggest role in Gen 6 currently is actually as an HO screen setter, because defog is so like not prominent that it sets them, and then you're just able to take advantage of it because it's so fast. It has taunt, it has glare to be obnoxious,
and then its teammate Shuckle can win the game.
No, it doesn't pair with Shuckle very often.
Wait, it doesn't?
But Tago,
I thought just every team led Shuckle in Gen 6 now.
Tago, the problem with that is that in this gen, defog gets rid of screens. So you're bringing defog against this team.
No, defog is much more widely distributed. So you are bringing defog against this team, but defog is something that like it has to try to take advantage of those defog turns somehow. I can't tell you how, but it's gonna have to do it, and that's
this team would really appreciate Defiant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got rid of screens, but in Gen 6, it was much lower distribution.
Yeah, in Gen 6, like, the only viable defoggers in OU were, like, the Lottie twins and Skarm, but Skarm was just awful with defog.
But yeah, like, Serp and Coco both have taunt to prevent defog turns and try to give those screen turns into one of their allies. Like, Como setting up Clangorous Soul is going to be really threatening behind a screen. Arrow trying to get off a couple of DDs. Lucario getting off a Sword Stance for Uniclus, setting up Calm Minds behind Reflect. But the other flip side of that is that in draft, you don't only need to bring defog to get rid of screens. You can still bring Psychic Fangs. You can still bring Brick Break.
Yeah.
Brick Break Tech. I remember bringing Brick Break Conk my first ever season to beat Aurora Veil Vanilla.
That's good. That is good. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is the team that I look at and I say, Scamp had some kind of plan, was on vacation, so he couldn't really follow through with said plan. He's going to play like 2 or 3 games, and either he's going to love the team, which is very well possible, or he's going to absolutely hate the team, which I think is more likely, and he's going to make transactions. Because there's still a lot on the board.
Which I think is actually a really big upside of us doing the 12-person draft, and then also even doing the 10-mon. Like, with people taking fewer tier 3s, there's still a bunch of room to be able to make changes and lots of good stuff that's still on the board.
Yeah, for sure.
I still think Raichu Alola being tier 4 is dumb. I mean, I know it's a tier 4 when it's not paired with Coco, but I just hate giving whoever drafts Coco that level of value.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not.
Because I feel like there's no reason to ever not take it. Yeah, I mean, it's.
Yeah, you're not wrong. There's no reason. You're 100% right. If you have Coco, there's not really a reason not to take.
Yeah.
Not to take Alolan Raichu,
because I personally put it in tier 3 so that you can't just stack it with Coco. But
yeah, I mean, we did that for a long time with things like Halucha early on, like, but like, I mean, then we just realized it's not that good.
Well, there's a difference between Raichu Alola and Howlucha, and that's that Howlucha sucks.
So does Raichu Alola.
I was gonna say Raichu Alola is not that great.
Tago, do I need to roll the film?
Of where I forgot that I had a move that completely invalidated it? Yeah, go for it. Me making a mistake doesn't mean that I'm like, I didn't go and, oh, this mon beat me. That means that it's the best.
I mean, I will admit my strategy for dealing with it in the playoffs, if it came, was the fact that in electric terrain, Zera Aura's Rising Voltage 2-hit KO'd it.
which is ridiculous.
It actually also 2-hit KO'd Coco, so I can't really say
Okay.
that.
All right.
Okay.
So
I think we said.
we're ready to move on to. I think we're gonna call this character development or betrayal, one or the other. We got Polo's team.
There's a Togekiss
Which
on this team.
There is, in fact, a Togekiss on this team. I have so many. I could pull up so many
I have
receipts
so many
of Togekiss
questions.
and
Like, is this the
Togekiss
real
hatred.
Polo? Did us making fun of him so much turn him into the Joker? Is
Like,
this my fault for kicking him so many times?
So, like, I don't know. I'm looking at this team. Also, hold on. The chat is still talking about the chat is still talking about Raichu Alola, and like Ari, you literally said Raichu can do things without setup, and then gave us a calc where Raichu has to have a nasty plot up. I'm confused. I am confused.
Yeah, it's still 2-hit KOing a resist is what Ari's trying to show.
Yeah, I got it. But like,
which is Rising Voltage is just why do the terrain moves exist? There's no reason for them to. They're just that is such a blatant power creep. Those moves. I hate all of them that aren't Grassy Glide.
Honestly, I don't really like Grassy Glide.
Yeah.
If
it was just like the signature move of Rillaboom, I wouldn't have a problem. But
Kingrock does not hate everything strong. That's actually the complete opposite. But let's get to Polo's team. So, he's got Thundy Breloom, which 2 Mons, very, very high value.
Very value. He is my favorite Pokemon ever, Breloom.
Yeah.
And his least favorite Pokemon ever, Togekiss.
He also has Necrozma, which I actually really like the pairing of Necrozma, Thundy, Breloom. I think it's like, I think he was going for Mew. It got taken. Or, yeah, he was considering
he was going
Mew.
for Hoopa. And then Film said he was taking Hoopa. And then Polo told him to go fuck himself like 20 times over the span of 2 days.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, he was always going for Hoopa, and then
I thought you were going for Mew. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. It looks like that, but I think he was looking at Necrozma all the way once Hoopa got taken.
But yeah, Double Dark is very interesting here.
Well, one of them is a tier 5, and I don't think if you're doubling up and one of the mons you're doubling up with is a tier 5, I don't really think it counts.
But it is when it's your dragon and will probably be coming to games. That's when that's why I said that.
Yeah, but the team does have good fighting resist. Like, you got the Necrozma, the Thundurus, and the Togekiss coming in, which is nice.
Yep.
Even to cover the Blitz.
Keep bringing up the Togekiss.
Which you're gonna, he's gonna need those those fighting resists are very important because like a lot of his defensive mons, like a lot of the mons that you look at and say these are mons that are going to be coming defensively are weak to fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you also have Blissey, which is a very non-Polo mon. But I mean, Polo did enjoy Toxapex when he used it. He sort of went over to the dark side. I like Blissey. I think it's good. I don't know. This team just feels a little weird to me. It's mostly just the Togekiss and the fact that his steel type is Joe Biden.
It does look weird. And I think that one of the things that makes it look weird is Necrozma, and me normally not seeing that on drafts and like not really processing like what role is it giving here.
It's able to do it's Mew Light. Necrozma is Mew Light.
It's really threatening.
Yeah, it can do some stuff.
I don't think it's bad by any means.
No, it's great. It's a great mon. I think in our community as a whole has definitely undervalued Necrozma, and I'm really excited to see Polo use Necrozma because I think Necrozma could really, like, I look at this team and I'm like, Necrozma could really shine.
Tago,
Because
didn't you have like a tier 2 Necrozma?
I did.
Didn't you put Necrozma in tier 2 and draft it yourself?
he did.
I did.
Yeah, when has that ever happened before? Alright.
That season. That
yeah.
was the season where I moved something down and then drafted it.
Not that it's so the question was, how is it undervalued if it's always tier 1? It's not necessarily that it's so if I said undervalued, I shouldn't have necessarily said undervalued. Underappreciated.
Yeah.
That's the word that's the appropriate word. Underappreciated. Because like it almost never gets drafted. And like it has so many different sets. It has hazards, like you there are so many things that you can do with Necrozma. Like it's defensively very, very good. Like it has access to recovery. Like it's a great mod. It just doesn't usually get taken. And I don't know why. Maybe the
There's
speed.
a lot of mons that usually don't get taken on this team because you have Breloom, who doesn't often get taken in tier 2, Thundy Eye, that usually wasn't taken in tier 1, Mega Camerup, that usually doesn't get taken, period. But I actually I like the Mega Camerup. That is a very polo energy mon.
It is.
It almost makes up for the fact that the tier 2 free pick right there.
I think the biggest downside of the team is that it is just too slow overall. Like you have Thundy, Inteleon, and then like
Drapion, which is not really. Oh no, I'm slower than Drapion. Anyway.
So
yeah. Then the next thing you're looking at is like DD, Necrozma, and Scarf Togekiss.
Yeah. Which is like those are threatening options and things that you're gonna have to consider and creep and deal with that way. But I do think that it's really a shortcoming of the team where just those speed tiers, you're going to be playing a much slower game. Your opponent's probably going to be going before you most of the time, and you're going to have to be trying to play kind of on that back foot almost.
He also, what is his psychic? Oh, it's Necrozma.
It's Necrozma.
Does Necrozma get Trick Room?
It does.
Yes, it does.
Okay. I was going to say, because if it didn't have a Trick Room setter, I would really be hesitant. Because I feel like with slow megas like Mega Camerup and Mega Mawile, even if you never run Trick Room or you only run it like once in a season, I feel like you have to at least have a setter. It's like when you draft Excadrill, you need to have like something like a Baby Hippo or a Sandaconda. You need to at least threaten the sand. Because if there's no reason for them to prep for like the one set that is their scariest thing, like a Mega Camerupt under Trick Room, that just makes it infinitely easier to deal with.
Yeah.
The sad thing though is Necrozma doesn't have any good way to get anything else onto the field, really.
Yeah.
I almost wish Blissey was something else. I don't know. I feel like a different Mon instead of Blissey would be. I don't know what. I'd have to look at things, but
You should draft it for a Mon weaker to Tornadus. I think
honestly,
we're all in agreement on that.
My biggest thing is probably dropping Blissey and Polion for a better steel type and something else would probably be nice.
Yeah, that is one thing. I just called Empoleon Joe Biden. I didn't expand upon that. For those of you that weren't here yesterday, Empoleon is just, no offense to film.
Yeah, Empoleon is definitely it's a good mon, but like it can struggle as a steel type.
Empoleon is dope. You
And
guys
it can
give
also
it no respect.
and it
I
can
will
also
not
struggle
stand
as a
for it.
bulky water. It is good. It's just
No, it is.
If you put the more you rely on Empoleon, it's like Joe Biden. You have to have low expectations or you are going to be disappointed. You cannot put all of your faith in Empoleon and expect to win.
See, I like Empoleon. I just I don't know.
I also wish they just gave it competitive instead of defiant. It's so dumb that they made competitive. And they gave it to Milotic, but they didn't give it to Empoleon. It just makes me sad.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think Empoleon is the mon that stands out to me the most on this team.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
Empoleon is
taking
great.
round 1 Breloom, I get why he did it, but it also left a bunch of higher tier mons available.
Yeah, that's
that's the problem with drafting like this mon is under tiered, I'm gonna draft it in round 1, is you're leaving a bunch of broken stuff on the board for the people behind you to take.
Yeah, we'll
And
see. We'll see
yeah.
exactly what, like, I mean, this was pick 6 in the draft, so we'll get to see exactly what the people after Polo got to take.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
So now we got Blitz, who I think first round picked Aegislash. This team is very Blitz.
Nah, there's no toxic effects.
minus the fact that there's no toxic effects, but he's got Slowking, so he still has a bulky water regenerating mon. He's got Mega Ult. I know he's a big fan of that mon. Mamoswine. I mean, I think we've said more than enough about Mamoswine in the last 2 days. Like, it just it wins games on paper for sure. Like, it's a matchup nightmare. There are some things on the team that I'm like, that's a little surprising. Like, Kangaskhan is a little surprising here. It feels like it just fits a speed tier for me here.
Yeah, I think it's a speed tier. I think it's a typing. Just being a normal type to kind of be that ghost resist for Slowking and Aegislash, and
I feel like drafting a bulky mon because it fills a speed tier is never the best idea, because you're never gonna run speed. Like, oh god, I need to be faster than Kangaskhan. Sure, it does nothing to me, but
yeah,
like,
I mean, you're not wrong, Tago. The fact that like Aegislash, Slowking are gonna be the mons that are probably gonna come to most games here. Like, having that normal type switch in is nice. But like, you also have Incineroar, so you have a bulky dark type that's gonna be able to take those shadow balls and take, like, obviously Incineroar doesn't want to lose its item all the time, but I also think that this team has really good removal, and magic bounce with Espeon. So like, I don't necessarily think if you're losing boots, for example, that you're not going to be able to get rid of or deter hazards.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, I like the team.
I don't see any weaknesses looking off the bat. I think that Altaria is really a really good defensive pairing with everything here. Like, goes really nicely with Aegislash, resisting fire, being immune to ground on the switch in, resisting dark. Slowking covers it really well as well, being that ice resist. Aegislash covers it, being that fairy resist. So I think the kind of that core 3 in my eyes of those mons, and then even throwing Crobat into the mix as well, is just like, those are mons that you're going to be able to bring to every game, and then kind of swapping out the last.
And the best part is, you didn't even mention Incineroar, which is another mon you can bring to almost every game.
Like, every mon on the team is good.
Yeah.
My only qualm is that it looks like the only hazard setter is Mamoswine on the entire team.
True. That is definitely something to call out. Nothing else is setting hazards.
all right.
Yeah. I think that was a team I feel like is pretty self-explanatory. All right, so now we got TRT's team. First pick was Mew, and then he took Tapu Fini, I'm pretty sure. And like,
Yep.
this is gonna be a fun team. This is gonna be a really fun team to watch. I really like it. I mean, you've got Klefki for status. I mean, obviously he'll have to play around Fini's terrain, but TRT is very, very used to using Tapu Fini, so I'm not worried at all about his ability to play around his own terrain. Zarude is a nice pairing with Fini, really nice pairing with Fini. I mean, he's used Nidoking Fini together in the past. He's got web support, Mega Heracross. Like, it's definitely, I like this. I like this team. I think there's definitely some stuff missing. But TRT's a great player, and I think he's got other plans that maybe I'm personally not seeing right now. And I think Mew covers up a lot of said potential holes. Like, it's not often you see double bug drafted, for example.
I think the team is unfortunately fire weak.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
For one.
And you're doing a lot of reliance on Fini to make that up, because you're not switching Barrascuda in on a Flare Blitz. It may just get 2-hit KO'd. Well, definitely it'll get 2-hit KO'd.
I think he's gonna use a combination of Fini and Klefki, and even sometimes defensive Mew to try to deal with that. I think.
What speed tier is Blacephalon at?
107, I believe.
Okay, I think Blacephalon, which is going to be on one of the next teams coming up, is really a nightmare for this team. Because your Ghost Resist is also weak.
Fire weak.
To fire. And then in general, it being able to like get a prediction right with a Spec Shadow Ball and get 45% off on Fini is going to mean that if rocks are up and you switch it in the next time, like you're getting
Barrascuda has to come to that game.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to get, like the team is going to be very pressured to switch in, but at the same time, it's mostly focused on actually killing stuff. And that's why like half of it has setup threat. You got Mew with every setup move in the game, Calm Mind Fini, Bulk Up Zarude, Klefki's going to be setting the spikes, Galvantula's going to be setting the sticky webs, Stunfisk the rocks, and then I guess everything's just going to try to go to
Stunfisk is going to be setting the cheering from the bench, if anything.
Stunfisk is going to be coming to against me because it's a really good 0 aura answer.
I was going to say Stunfisk. I can see Stunfisk coming to more games than we might think. Like I honestly look at this team and I'm thinking there's a purpose for every mon here. Even something like Noctowl. Like I think Noctowl even comes to a game or two. Like, which if you can get, in my opinion, if you have a tier 6 and you can get 2 games out of your tier 6, I think that is a very good tier 6. Because like tier 6 is literally, it's supposed to be, the idea of tier 6 is like you're scraping the bottom of the barrel. So if you can get 2 games out of your tier 6 and a 9-week season, I think your tier 6 is doing something. That's just
fair enough.
That's my opinion.
Definitely is one of the better tier 6s with like Tinted Lens and Hurricane and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm also very excited to see Heracross Mega drafted. That's actually one of my favorite things about this team is that Heracross is on it. That's going to be dope. We'll see if TRT sticks with that, but
I do really like it.
Okay. It should be good. All right, let's move on. We got Clay's team. Clay is also in the chat, I believe.
Yay, Clay got up.
Clay is awake.
Before noon.
And I just want to mention, look at Clay's logo is fucking phenomenal. Can we just talk about that? Can we talk about Clay's logo?
More things keep getting added to it.
Yeah,
well,
it's great.
I can even seeing it on your screen. Is that Tom from MySpace?
Yep, I think so.
I can definitely see the Kartana.
There's so much. There's so much. It's so good.
There's the Waterloo Mienfus and the Shanai
I
Chandelures.
think my favorite part is JCap's tier 1 tier list all the way on the all the way over.
Well,
Oh man, it's
is
so
the
good.
is the one EDC guy's comment about bees still in the logo?
There's something about ants.
Oh, maybe it was ants.
Yeah. But anyway, we can we can talk about Clay's logo for the length of this entire video.
Oh,
But
yeah, the bee movie.
let's talk about his team. Garchomp, Mega Gallade, Corviknight.
Those were the first 3 picks.
Those were the first 3 picks, and those are very, very good mons. Like, this team is scary.
I actually am the one who drafted this team.
Yeah, Tago drafted this for
So we
Clay.
did a swap. And so first mon, I was like, oh, Mega Gallade's still on the board. That seems like a really cool mon. I'll take that. And then it got back around, and Garchomp was on the board. And like that's the same 2-mon core that I had started with at the beginning of last season. And then it turned into Stall somehow. So I thought, you know what? I'll give it another whirl, and this time I'll actually make it offensive and actually good.
And you immediately draft Corviknight.
And then, but the way I thought about it was like Corviknight pairs really nicely with Garchomp and is a great pivot to get both of those mons actually onto the field so that they can do some crazy breaking. Good hazard control. And I didn't want someone else to have Corviknight because I thought that it was one of the better Garchomp answers on the board. So I was just like, you know what? I'll take it off.
It's always good, always a good idea. Yeah, I mean, I think Raikou fits really well here. I like Roselia here. Diancie is a very good mon in tier 4 that I know Clay absolutely loves. And probably shouldn't be in tier 4, but that's besides the point. I'm very I was surprised to see Bisharp here.
So as you start to get to the dark types in the lower tiers, your options dry up very quickly.
Okay.
It was originally going to be Drapion. Drapion got taken. It was going to be Skuntank. Skuntank got taken. And then I was looking at it and it's like, well, Bisharp provides another really good breaker.
Yeah.
Right alongside these other guys. Has good priority utility with Sucker Punch that kind of forces that prep. Just pops items off, has the rocks option, and is an ice resist because both the other steel type and the fire type not being ice resist meant that I wanted to find one more way to get that in there.
That makes sense.
And so,
yeah, especially because Garchomp likes having a bevy of ice resists.
Mm-hmm.
Like when my one round with regular Chomp, I believe my next couple of picks were like Metagross, Rotom Heat, and Milotic.
Mm-hmm.
Just to pivot around very easily.
Yeah, when I had Garchomp, I had Aegislash and Rotom Wash with it.
It doesn't always I think that can be really confining though, and so I didn't want to go in that direction. And in my mind, it's like Corviknight is going to be a really good answer for most ice types. Like it's a really good answer to Mamoswine. It's a really good answer to Weavile. As far as good answers to those mons actually go. And so I thought I have Corviknight, and the 2 most threatening ice types with the Ice Shard priority are going to be dealt with. And otherwise, Garchomp outspeeds all of the other ones bar Sneasel, which Corviknight deals with as well. And then I was trying to think of how are you going to deal with the bulky waters? Well, you have both Garchomp and Gallade to try to wear those down and break them down. But then you also have Raikou to pivot in. You have Roselia to pivot in. And I'm so happy that I drafted the team that really likes having Roselia on it, as I always do, because Roselia is such a demon in tier 5, and I love that.
So glad to finally draft Roselia, irregardless of what the team is, and to have the Roselia actually fit.
The one thing I look at this team, I really wish there was something else that could hit specially.
If Roselia was in tier 6, Tago would have taken it alongside Roserade.
If that's the thing. Like, I look at this team. If Roselia were Roserade and you could make the points up somewhere else, oh man, that would be so good.
That was
Yeah.
originally the direction that I wanted to go, but it just wasn't playing out with the other tier options. And it's very much like a physical offense team that's
Yeah,
meant
it
to
is.
just kind of barrel down on you from the physical side, and Raikou is there to clean up. And that's just an archetype that I've really enjoyed playing with in OU. Like, you have 4 Sword Stance setup sweepers if you consider Talonflame to be a Sword Stance setup sweeper.
I
No.
don't.
Not really. I was honestly hoping you were going to tell me that Vigoroth got Sword Stance. I'm going to be honest.
Vigoroth has less attack than Talonflame. I won. Vigoroth, I wanted to be Munchlax, but Clay suggested Vigoroth, and then he's like, I don't really care, but I'd really like to have Vigoroth on the team.
Okay.
So Vigoroth is on the team.
He was against lunch.
Yeah, I do agree with Clay that I do agree with Clay that Bisharp does fit well. I think it fits well. I was just surprised to see it. As I was going down the list of Mons, I was surprised to see Bisharp here. But I agree, it fits well, and I think the fact that the other dark types kind of fell off the board definitely meant that you had to kind of pivot, and Bisharp is very good value. All right, shall we move on? We got 3 teams left. I think this next one Clay drafted for Lambo. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Lambo, another player that is often in the upper echelon of the or upper placement of the standings. Season 2 champ. This team is scary. Like, what the fuck is this team? Megalop, Lando T, Rotom Wash, Roser. I love this team. Like, top to bottom, I love this team. Outside of Altaria.
Outside of Altaria and the Raj for me. I'm not a fan of the Raj.
I mean,
you'd be surprised how good Copperajah actually is. You just don't invest into its HP. So you're able to go max attack. Its HP is already so high, and then if you start investing into one of its defenses instead, it's really good on the bulky side. And then you're able to just have these super oppressive attacker
yeah,
sets that are difficult to switch into.
I actually like Copperajah. As a tier 4,
hating on Copperajah. A low tier is being shit on by Film. Oh, never mind. Film loves it, which also means it's bad. The only way for a low tier to be good is if Film is indifferent.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Blacephalon is. I mean, we've actually seen a lot of teams that Blacephalon puts a lot of pressure on. And the combination of like having to worry about Blacephalon when there's a Megalop, a Lando T, a Rotom Wash, a Roserade, like that's actually a problem. And then he has the combo of the Comfey Zoroark combo is also very, very nice. Like that's actually one I think did Pokeaim have a video on that?
On what?
On it was either Pokeaim or MV had a ladder team that they put together with Comfey Zoroark a while back.
Oh yeah, that was a suggestion I gave to you to
yeah,
draft.
I drafted that team. It just didn't end up the league fell apart. But yeah, Comfey Zoroark was definitely a pairing that either MV or Pokeaim or both had put together.
Yeah, Zoroark's like a hidden threat.
Yeah, Zoroark is
like lurks in the back.
Yeah, Zoroark is one of those mons that I think Lambo is gonna have a lot of fun with. I think he's gonna have a lot of fun with just like kind of fucking with somebody in a game. Like I can see Zoroark winning a game because somebody forgets about it. For sure. I mean, yeah. What do you guys have anything else to say about this team? Like, it has good hazard support. Clay said Altaria is literally just there for a Rillaboom answer. Yeah, even Lambo said I never remember Zoroark. Yeah, and now you have it on your team. It should be fun to build with.
I think Altaria is actually pretty good too. Like, you have a natural Curamon, heavy duty boots. It's like there is a cleric. Dragon typing's useful to have on the team. So it's just like a pretty decent option. And then you'd be surprised how it's able to hit stuff just because of the coverage that it gets. Like fire, ice, fairy, it still gets Moonblast even though it doesn't get Pixelate.
Those are coming off. We are talking about it coming off of 70 special attack though, Tago. Don't get ahead of yourself.
True. This gen though, it also gets Fire Spin and Pair Song, so you have to worry about it being a trapper. I think it's got some good sets.
No, I agree. I think it's.
Does it get U-turn? No U-turn. I wish it got U-turn. That's one thing I will say. Okay, I've said my part.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lambo's gonna be fine. It's funny because I remember I wasn't really around much for last season's drafts, and I remember I looked at Lambo's team last season. I was like, Lambo, what the hell is this team you drafted? And like now that I'm seeing this team, like this doesn't look like this actually does look more like a Lambo team. This looks like maybe Lambo's team would be like a little fatter, but this is definitely. I know Lambo is a big fan of Comfey. I know Lambo will do well with Lando T Rotom Wash. Like this is, and he loves his T Spikes. If any Mon on this team comes to every game, I imagine it's gonna be probably Megalop, but Roserade.
Clay says Comfy was gonna be Deancey, but he got sniped.
I don't know, Lambo. Like I said, I wouldn't see you drafting Blacephalon or Zoroark, but like I could see you drafting the rest of these Mons. Maybe not Capparaja. You're not really a Capparaja. Never draft Lop or Len. That doesn't mean they don't fit your. That doesn't mean they don't fit you. We're gonna move on though. We're gonna move on to Tago's team, who I think Lambo drafted this, right?
Lambo did draft this.
Okay, so.
All right. I would like to go on a bit of a rant here.
Let's hear it.
Before we begin anything else. So, Mega Kangaskhan and Mega Alakazam were banned this season for nasty plot and seismic toss because they didn't want to do complex bans. And then I pointed out that there's still complex bans in the dock. And Admin Tago's response was, but those are all just abilities. And then I said, what about Mega Blastoise? And he said, Mega Blastoise is different. It did not expand upon it. What I did not realize is that Mega Blastoise was different because it was going on to his team.
But I didn't draft my team. I didn't know it was going on to my team.
I'm just, large amount of Just like I'm sure you didn't know that Gliscor was going onto your team.
I didn't know the Gliscor was going
Another Tago favorite. Tangrowth.
Yes.
No.
Well, Tangrowth is leaving this team shortly.
I imagine.
No, it isn't. I ended up talking to Lambo about it.
Interesting.
Tangrowth is going to be staying.
Yes, you decided you weren't weak enough to Torn. I respect it.
I'm not that weak to Torn.
So yeah, looking at this team, I mean, it's got a lot of hazards. But then again, Clefairy's not coming to too many games, I would imagine.
Oh, Clefairy's going to be swapped out.
Oh, you are making changes.
Yeah, I think that one's going to go to Rapidash.
Oh, wow.
Wait, did you say this team? Did you see this team has a lot of hazards?
I mean, you look at the. I guess not a lot.
It just has rocks, and rocks.
That's what I meant. Like, it has a lot of rockers. That's what I mean. Like, it has a lot of rockers that can
Well,
actually
4 rockers.
click rocks.
But I mean, there's no spikes. There's no T
yeah,
spikes.
there's no. Yeah, that is true. That is
and
very
I mean,
true.
just getting rocks up consistently is good enough for most teams. But
Which I think it will be for this team.
hmm
I think just getting rocks up, will be good enough for this team. Like,
I mean, I like having the option of spikes with like stuff like Zera and Whimsicott.
see, I like having T spikes. I really like having T spikes support.
Mm.
But no, spikes are really good.
It's
and
gotten to the point now where I prefer spikes to rocks in draft, just because everything that you're trying to hit with rocks, unless it's a rock weak mega, they just have the option of running boots on if their removal isn't very good.
yeah.
Whereas spikes are going to get you more consistent damage.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me.
No, that definitely makes sense. Yeah, Tago, how do you feel about this team? Considering it is your team, you didn't draft it, but how are you feeling
I
about
like
it?
it. I think that overall it is very good. I think that Gengar and Pangoro was a really nice late combination that fits the rest of the squad very well. I think Miltank works nicely. Metagross is super cool with Gliscor. Blastoise Mega, I will decide how much I like it. Because I've never been a big Blastoise Mega fan.
It's a very... It may be the Kamala Harris to Empoleon's Joe Biden. In terms of water types that look good on paper, but are a little disappointing. I've always been surprised that the rapid spin set doesn't like see more use. Just boosting your speed with all that special attack.
Yeah, I think that actually will provide, like, I do think that will provide some good
That's
utility
true.
on this team.
I do not like waters that don't get recovery.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be really fun, and I like that it's a little bit more offensive than some of my more recent teams have been.
Yeah,
because that's going to be a good change of pace.
I do think it can be this team is definitely a bit fire weak. Like, there's a lot of pressure on Blastoise.
Now you have the tanks are coming in to handle the fire type. You have the Mega Blastoise and the other tank, the Mill tank.
Yeah, Rapidash will definitely be a good addition. Lambo, I agree. Is that the only? So I'm curious, or actually, you probably shouldn't mention all of the changes if they're not in yet, / you're not making them yet.
I think it is just going to be Rapidash. For
Okay.
Maybe if it's a big problem, other stuff will get changed later. But I'm happy.
No, actually, I really like that.
Have a fire type.
I do really like that change. There's no fire type on this team. Rapidash would be good here.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, because right now you only have how many ice resists do you have with Gliscor now?
Metagross, Blastoise,
and Miltank with Thick Fat.
And Miltank with Thick Fat, yeah.
Okay, that makes it better.
So yeah, I think that's fine. And Clefairy was just kind of there to be there, I think.
Clefairy is another low tier that I always put on.
Yeah.
It's just so valuable in tier 5. But yeah, I don't have too much more to say about my team. We can move on to the last one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right.
Yeah, I agree, Clay. Clefairy isn't quite bulky enough. I agree. Okay, so I think this is the last team, and this team underwent a massive switch up in Grace Period. I think I know there was a Mega Absol, there was a bunch of other stuff, but this is Naito's team, and I think Naito's the only coach here that this is his first ISL season. But he's been very successful in other leagues. Very good player. So excited to have Naito here. And fun fact, I don't know where his name came from, but one of the games that I'm streaming has a like enemy named Naito, and it's fucking hideous. And apparently he knew about it because he saw the game that I was playing and said, "Oh, wait till he sees my name." So yeah, fun fact there. But yeah, this team, I mean, Rillaboom. I personally do not like Rillaboom. Like, I don't know.
I don't necessarily like the fit of Rillaboom here. And I know we were talking about this yesterday of like Coco with Milotic. I just don't think this team appreciates grassy terrain very much. You have two really defensive Water and Ground and Milotic and Mudsdale that both really appreciate the recovery, but they also really don't like taking boosted grass knots, especially Mudsdale.
Mm-hmm.
And then your other two big defensive mons, Latias and Celesteela, are at best indifferent to grassy
They're also off the
terrain.
ground.
Well, Latias can like game a little extra recovery with Roost, I guess, but like Celesteela doesn't benefit from it at all. Pinsir is kind of forced into running CC over Earthquake,
Mm-hmm.
which, I mean, Mudsdale it is a horse, so it has that high horsepower. But like the biggest beneficiary of grassy terrain, other than the Rillaboom itself, is kind of Cradilly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like grassy terrain here. I don't like grassy terrain in general in draft, mostly because of its association with Tapu Bulu. But I also just don't like the fact that your opponent is healing too. And it can be sometimes really annoying.
Yeah, so I have Rillaboom in UGL, and I think the team is built well around it. Like, I'm not like, I mean, for example, my ground type is Nidoqueen. Like, I'm not running physical ground moves ever.
It's a very good ground type to pair with it.
Yeah, and so I think like the pairing was something that
that's Clay is right. This team had to completely rework itself because it got sniped of Mega Camerupt.
Ooh, yes, that's a good call.
And Mega Camerupt would have been really nice here.
Yeah, Mega Camerupt definitely would have been nice here. I agree. And that would have given some more points as well.
That would have been really good because that pairs super nicely with Steela too.
Mm-hmm.
So the core would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you've ended up with this flying spam team, which is actually pretty cool.
I mean, I love bird spam.
Like, you got
My
Brave
favorite
Bird,
birds, Celesteela and Mega Pinsir.
and Staraptor.
Mega Pinsir was one of the mons that was part of the original bird spam team.
Interesting.
I think it was Mega Pinsir Talonflame in Gen 6.
They would pair together a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's
that was the CTC tech.
That the removal is Latias and Staraptor to support the birds.
Yeah. Your birds are not really in good
wings kind of clipped.
Not really in good spot. Yeah.
And also we haven't mentioned that the fairy is Alchemy. And
Tier 5 Alchemy though.
This is one of those teams that like
value.
You're probably not bringing Alchemy Dunsparce often. You're probably bringing Rillaboom, Milotic, Staraptor, Steela, Latias, Mudsdale, Pinsir.
Thank you, Clay, for acknowledging their wings were clipped line. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Clay, I wasn't giving that to him.
I actually really like Cradilly. I think Cradilly can come to some games on this
team.
team.
Yeah, Cradilly can also. You're right. You're definitely right.
It's also, one of the... Well, I guess Mudsdale is the team's best rocker, but like Cradilly and Mudsdale are both very consistent rockers. And if you don't want to bring Mudsdale or you can't bring rocks on Mudsdale... Oh, I forgot Dunsparce. Wait, does it? That's a
Dunsparce does get rocks. It gets rocks and glare.
Does get rocks.
And headbutt them. It also gets stab, Serene Grace, headbutt.
Yes. And it also Dunsparce is the most annoying abuser of Serene Grace ever. I had a Gen 5 NU team when I was 14 years old that I was like it was like glare, coil, headbutt, bite. Or no, it was glare, coil, headbutt, roost because I didn't think people would have ghost types because I was 14 years old and they didn't. And the Dunsparce won like 10 games in a row just because my opponent forfeited after it got set up.
I do
Dunsparce.
think it's probably one of the better options in the tier as far as rockers go that didn't overlap with any of his other types.
Mhm.
Except the barrel. Oh, I think the
Dunsparce is
barrel.
going to destroy a Scarf physically defensive Blacephalon.
Yeah.
Like
Dunsparce.
Blacephalon is actually this is another team that is really 6-0'd by Blacephalon.
Yeah.
Because you could run a Power Herb Solar Beam set in grassy terrain and
Oh
just
my.
obliterate Milotic.
I don't
You
think
just-
that it gets solar beam.
It does.
Oh, it does.
It does, because Scamp ran it against me.
This team also doesn't have a dark.
No dark for Latias. No dark to protect Latias is kind of rough.
No fire.
And its Dark Resist is no fighting either.
No fighting.
I mean, its fighting type offensively is ostensibly Staraptor, because it fulfills that kind of role with close combat, and I guess
Pincer.
Mega Pincer.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, Latias is really left out to dry defensively. You don't even have very many ice resists either.
Your speed
Is it
control is
just
also priority.
is it
from
just
those weapons
Milotic
there.
as an ice resist?
Yes.
Yep.
Ooh.
This is definitely tough. This is going to be I feel like this is going to be a tough team to pilot.
Mm-hmm.
I really do think so.
I think some changes need to be made here. I think you need some resistances to support Latias, or you need to change it out for a different dragon.
On the flip side, though, what ice types have we seen drafted? Weavile
Let's go. We can go back. We can go back through.
and Mamoswine, I think, are the only two.
Yes, but ice coverage as well is very free against this team.
Yeah, hold on. Let's go back through. I do think you're right. I do think it was just Mamo. So there's Mamo.
Yeah, it
You
was
do
just
still
Mamo
have
and Weavile.
like you have Blastoise and Teleon that are both high special attack that are clicking Ice Beam.
And like stab Ice Beam on Blastoise because of the Mega Launcher. Look out.
Clawitzer.
Yeah.
Stab Ice Beam on Clawitzer too. The Mega Launcher mods.
Manaphy also gets stab Ice Beam.
Like there's definitely things that are gonna, and the other thing is like with Gliscor and Lando T, there are probably going to be teams that are gonna pick up. Like I can imagine by the end of the season, Kiram's on a team. That's my guess. That is my guess. Is that by the end of the season, Kiram is on a team.
Does this team have a dark resist? Oh, I keep forgetting. It does have Alcremie. But that is your lone dark resist.
Yeah.
And Weavile just laughs at you.
Yeah, this is gonna be. That's gonna be tough, I think.
For the Weavile, at least you do have Melodic. Like that's gonna be able to come in on that pretty well, right? But I mean, how well does it take banded knockoffs?
Milotic would pretty much have to be Flame Orb, and I guess that is an upside to grassy terrain. Is I guess Flame Orb becomes easier to run. Because Flame Orb Milotic does check Weavile once it's burned.
It would.
But
yeah, I think the team is going to have some problems, but
I think there needs to be a couple more changes than this.
Agreed. Okay, so we are at the end. What is everyone's favorite team.
I recuse myself.
Fair. I really like Kingrock's team. I mean, I can just throw that out there. I like Kingrock's team. I also really like the team that Tago drafted for Clay.
Yeah.
And then I think after that, maybe Tago's team, maybe Rick's team. Yeah, I think I do think I actually like Kingrock's team the best. It's either Kingrock's or Clay's team. And I forgot about Lambo's team. No, Lambo's team's really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say probably one of those teams.
Yeah, I think that my top 6 teams is what we did last time too. I
That's
gotta
true.
put myself up there. Hell yeah, you look at the Waterloo man who's long sleeves and scrappy spirit, or sorry, baggy sleeves and scrappy spirit. I like Lambo's team a lot. Clay's team is fantastic, drafted by an absolute genius of Pokemon. I think Blitz's team also quite good. Wish it had more rockers, but it hits stuff. Rick's team is all right, but he's going to lose this first week.
He's just going to spiral from there. I agree.
Kingrock as well, and I think that's my 6.
Yeah, I think okay. So if I had to pick 6, I would say Kingrock's team, Clay's team, Lambo's team, Tago's team, Rick's team, and Blitz's team. Yeah, I think those are for me the 6 as well. And then I think probably Polo's would be number 7.
If I had to do a top 6 in no particular order, it'd be Tago, Clay, Lambo, TRT, myself, Blitz, and probably Critic's team.
That's 7.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, you're right. It is.
Was it?
Yeah,
I was counting on my hands, and I'm holding up 7 fingers.
What the hell? I missed that. Damn. Fair enough. Yeah, so I mean that is it. I think we're doing I need to figure out when we're gonna do Pearl. Because I'm supposed to stream tomorrow, but we can talk about that off the video. So thank you everybody for watching. This is the again Platinum ISL Season 7 draft recap review, etc. And we will be back with the Pearl, which was the last division to finish drafting. So that's why we're doing them last. There's also been a couple of games in Pearl already, so should be really interesting. Get to kind of see what people are bringing and kind of go from there. So thank you, Tago and Kingrock. Appreciate you guys as always, and we will catch you on the next one.
Peace.